Okay, Morgan, what to do with the Champions League, Europa League spots? I think you've hinted at it in a previous video. So you want Man City out?
Well, Man City's out. I mean, you can't really enforce the transfer ban with the way the world is now. So you just get rid of Man City. That's number one. Liverpool obviously are in. There was suggestion that you use UEFA coefficients to determine the teams. That's just outright baloney because that would unfairly help Arsenal, who haven't deserved it just for the fact of previous years they were good, but realistically right now they're not. It wouldn't help Tottenham either, which as much as I'd love to see them screwed over, it's not appropriate realistically because you haven't awarded the FA Cup and you haven't, and well, Man City and all that stuff with the League Cup. Do we really want to see Sheffield United get screwed? Yes, because I still hate Chris Morgan for when he sucker punched Robin van Persie all those years ago, but no, because give them their due. They've allowed 25 goals in 28 matches. Like, you have to give them some form of credit for a good defensive season. So let them in. Let them into Europe next year. Why not? So bin the UEFA coefficients. Go with the table, banning Man City, which means United gets in as the fourth team, and then Wolves, United, Sheffield United, and Spurs get into the Europa League, and Arsenal miss out as they should. And that's my choice.
Fair. Martin?
Well, Spurs getting into the Europa League is not somewhere I want to see them, and not somewhere, frankly, they deserve to be right now. They've been really poor. And as Morgan said, Arsenal and Spurs, neither of them deserve anything from this season. But in general, I think City should get banned. But underlying all of this, before all of this, is will there be a Champions League? If the leagues are, if there is a second wave and the leagues can't get going, when will the Champions League and Europa League run? There's a whole lot of qualification stuff that goes on early, which I don't think there'll be time for. So you're into a situation potentially where they have to either short circuit the whole process, have fewer teams entering the Champions League and Europa League in order to fit everything in, or maybe they end up cancelling that too and doing a 2-year thing. But, if it goes ahead, I think, Man City should be out. Leicester, Chelsea, Man U should be in. And Wolves and Sheffield United, definitely Europa League. But, if Spurs don't get in, I won't be sad, particularly. I know I'm a supporter, but I really like it when they deserve it, and they don't deserve it this season. So that's my 2 pence.
All right, last but not least is Mark Haynes.
So there's actually quite a lot to unpack there because Martin makes a couple of really good points. And the first thing is, are they even going to be able to finish the Champions League and the Europa League this season? Remember, those are still competitions that are in the earlier parts of the knockout stages. So there's still, theoretically a lot of games to go to finish those this season. What do? If football's only able to restart in September, October, are we still playing out the rest of that Champions League and Europa League season? Are we finishing that competition? So I think it's really difficult. But I mean, theoretically, assuming that somehow they're able to finish this season and we actually do care about qualification for next year, and again, assuming that, as we've kind of alluded to in the previous segment, we don't think that the league is going to be able to finish playing this year, then I mean, I think we're all on the same page that Man City fell foul of the financial fair play rules. They're out. I don't think there should be any discussion. There obviously will be, and there'll be legal battles, but there shouldn't be. So what you really have is I think we're all on the same page with Champions League qualification. If that's the case, it's the same 4 teams. Again, Sheffield United, I kind of feel a little bit sorry for them because, I think they were still within a shout of looking at the rest of their fixtures and how they've played against those teams that they still had to play. Sheffield United were a dark horse for making it into the top 4 still. But that being said, I think more so than Wolves. But that being said, Sheffield United, Wolves, and then, sure, if you wanted to be really pedantic, you could say none of the other teams deserve to be in the Europa League. So who gets the third Europa League place? Maybe it's the team, and I don't remember who it is, who were, other than Wolves and Man City, who went furthest in the League Cup. So one of the beaten semi-finalists or something like that. But I mean, I would have no problem with Spurs being the next team in its current league position to make the Europa League. I'm just skeptical that any of this will actually really happen. And I have a feeling we may be in the same position that we spoke about with the league earlier, where somehow or other they've got to do some kind of a mini tournament or something. Maybe they end up making the Champions League and Europa League only knockout rounds and scrap the whole group stage. And each country has a mini tournament as part of their belated pre-season to identify, teams that qualify in the third and fourth position for Champions League, and then in the last position for Europa League. But I mean, I think this is all speculation because we don't know when there's going to be football again, and we don't know how many games will actually be able to be played in the next, say, 15 months.